Dealt with the vampies?
Yeah. Finished up with the vampires and leveled up.
And sunk whatever the thing that they dug up was back in the ocean.
Yep. You guys put the Elder Seal back where they found it. You scuttled their ship, sent it out into sea. Took all their shit they had on it, I think, as someone said.
Took all their very nice literature.
Yep, took all their nice literature. And you went back home. Now, we did a little bit of investigative development phase, and we're going to be starting off with everyone meeting back up. After a regular, quote-unquote regular work week, I'd like to ask each of you, one by one, what did your character do during this time? We're going to go ahead and start with Discord order, Rebecca.
She just worked
Mm-hmm.
her job.
Yep. First couple of days, a little anxious as people were talking about who took out a bunch of gold and then returned it without anyone noticing. But that was quickly forgotten about as the next latest gossip came up. And Rebecca, if I remember correctly, you are the one who essentially found a string of disappearances that you think that this group of people that you just met would be very specialized in tracking. From what you have discovered of them. They get into some weird shit. Okay. Now, Evie, anything interesting happened during your week?
Yeah, Evie has been poking and prodding at her vampire guts. And trying to figure out what she can find out about them.
What is interesting is that they congealed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do the layers separate out at all?
A little bit. So most of the fat goes onto the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of looks like just cursed jello.
Cursed tiramisu?
Mm-hmm. So that's what it's turned into.
Evie would spend a great deal of time when she's not teaching just poking at that stuff.
Her little side project.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Elaine.
I think, because I know we did this previously, Elaine sent some letters to her brother and received some, I believe.
Yep. Some letters back and forth. She sent some gifts back, right?
Yeah. Some perfume and gloves, I think, is what I said.
Mm-hmm. Something along those lines.
Yeah. She compiled all the stuff from the case.
Mm-hmm. Organizing it.
Yeah, organized all the files and the information and whatnot. Doing class stuff with Evie at some point. But yeah, just mostly. Oh, she was looking at the
spell that she got.
Spell, thank you. I think I was thinking magic, but I'm like, it's not just magic. There's an actual word for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A spell. She was researching that.
Mm-hmm. Which above table,
she learned it.
There was a slight retcon. We swapped that out for a different spell because I misread things.
How fucked were we about to be if you hadn't?
Not very. But yeah. Sorry, I cut you off. What was that?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that was it. She learned to spell.
Yep, she learned to spell. Very interesting one.
Yeah.
All right. Avram, what are you doing with the fucking flask?
You told me I couldn't do things with the flask and read
Oh, that's
nice
true.
poetry.
Right. You have to pick one.
So, change of plans. The plan was not a humane one. So he's going to, before they leave town, give it to Camilla. She might have use of a hostage. We'll call it a hostage.
You just gotta.
Here you go.
Here you go. Okay. If you want, you can just hang on to it.
Do you want me to hang on to it?
I'm just giving you the option. You can give it to Camilla and have her have a quote unquote hostage, or you can keep it.
Anybody got any votes on that?
I mean, giving it to Camilla sounds like the safest option, all things considered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a nice idea.
Might
Yeah,
earn
you
us
do
a
a present.
favor in the future if she.
Could also just leave it on her shelf as a decorative piece.
Yeah, just fuck this guy.
Yep.
Yeah, we will turn it over. And after doing that, he does consider for a moment translating people of the monolith into Russian, but that's a terrible idea. So instead, he writes a paper about it without being very specific.
Okay. Cool. You give Camilla the flask, and she's confused, but she'll take it. She doesn't understand how you got one of them into a fucking flask. She doesn't ask any questions though. She'll just take it.
Don't ask questions, I don't have answers.
Yeah. All right. And Danny.
Well,
How's your week been?
last I remember, Danny is no longer a firefighter. He got yoinked into being a park ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nathan poached
Like,
him.
I guess learning all of those new duties because the most social he had to be was helping someone who was lost.
That's still about the most social that you have to be.
Gotcha. Okay.
He's a natural.
This is fucking Nathan we're talking about. He doesn't want to be social if he doesn't have to.
Mm-hmm. He's got his new duties. He's got new stations and everything. But the bright side is he's got weekends off now.
Heck yeah. Thanks, boss.
Don't thank your boss yet.
Other than giving Avram the definitely not cursed poetry book. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just learning the ins and outs of the new job.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Last but certainly not least, how's Nathan's week been?
And he's no longer hurting from the very first adventure.
Hey, he's fully healed. Those claw marks that were kind of inky and a little bit of an infection starting to spread finally worked. That medicine that Moira gave you did wonders. You are back in fighting form. Only a couple of scars to show from that. Now, did Nathan train Danny himself? Or did he just hand him a book? Read this. Have fun.
I imagine it depends on how much Danny decides he wants to try and be Weasley. Because every time Nathan was asking him a question, he was being Weasley.
Oh. You're asking personal questions.
He's a beautiful boy, he's not a weasel.
But if Danny is receptive, he would.
I will say, after Danny learned that Nathan and the others are in on the spooky shit, he'd be much more open.
He passed the vibe check.
Take offense to that. Nathan should always pass the vibe check. Nathan's the most normal out of all these assholes.
Okay, to be fair though, Danny didn't get fired. He got relocated for saying he saw someone who's definitely not human.
This is true. But
He's
yeah,
got bills to pay.
Nathan would have trained Danny a little bit and enjoyed a week of not chasing after Evie jumping in the water every single day.
It's just the amount of stress that's on y'all's weekends where your work days are the calm ones. It's very fun. But eventually your peaceful work weeks do come to an end. There's a phone call from Rebecca who says that she's found something you guys might want to take a look at. And you all reconvene at the little agency office you guys have behind the library. Fish spare key has been returned to the fish in the hallway. Evie, don't worry. Here you go. One by one, you guys arrive, with or without breakfast, depends on if you guys would want to pick it up or not. Rebecca had a bit of a drive, because she's the only one who's not in New York. But she came with a lot of case files. And as you guys are able to look them over, the basic rundown of this is that in southern Jersey, specifically a town called Absecon, there has been a string of disappearances 6 years ago that went cold. They weren't able to find any connection between the victims or any leads on where they went at all. And that is the case that Rebecca found in the Boston Police Department storage, because that department was called as trying to get help for this case, but again, nothing came of it. They weren't able to help at all. But there's something about the way the details were slightly weird that Rebecca, you've seen it before, different cases typically have this air to them in lack of detail. Not for the sake of the person who wrote it was not doing their job, because then you can really tell, because everything would be just very bare minimum. It's the fact that all of the things that they tried to investigate didn't turn much up. Because usually there'd be some answer, there'd be some information, but there isn't any in this case. And that, to you, with your expertise in finding out which crimes are Eldritch related and which aren't, is the red flag.
That was for Rebecca, right?
Yeah. Basically that's what Rebecca found, and I'm just going to say a little bit of a time skip. It's the weekend. Rebecca called previously to show up with this case and has presented this case to all of you. And this is the information that Rebecca found.
I think Evie tilts her head at this. Do we know anything about these disappearances other than that they're unusual?
God.
My files aren't loading.
Uh-oh.
Please bear with me. Ah, yes. So, here, let me just copy and paste this actually. I'll put this in the handouts. Oop. These are the names and ages of each of the people that went missing 6 years ago.
Were these unrelated, or was this like a all-in-one situation?
These all occurred within the month of November. So there was a quick string of disappearances. However, it looks like they were unrelated because they could not find any ties between the people. And that is kind of what made the case go cold.
Okay.
Where did they go missing from?
Jersey.
But what were they doing at the time?
Nothing out of the normal. One of them was walking home from school. The other was coming home from work. It all kind of occurred in the evening to nighttime, but all in like different areas around the same location. And the interesting part is that the detective for the case was the sheriff at the time from Obsequion. However, the actual town where the disappearances are from is actually a town that's not on the map exactly. It's one that's a bit a ways away, about 5 miles like northeast of Obsequion. And it's that from that small town is where the disappearances came from. But the actual office and police department that goes to that town is in Obsequion.
Could you spell that?
I got you. Obsequion.
Well, I propose that we try and see what we can find out at the library here about that place before we leave.
Good to do research, yeah.
be just a bit more prepared.
See if there's any connections any of us have to that area. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, if we're going to be doing research, I will... Oh, first of all, luck checks.
All right.
I remembered.
Hey, that means I gain, right?
Yep, 1d10 if you fail.
I'll take it, I guess.
I think dice right.
Mini dice.
Heartbreaking.
Right? If only. Alright. Now we have that out of the way. Anyone who wants to do research, go ahead and roll me a library use.
See,
The
continue
party's
my insane streak with these.
it's party's favorite skill.
Mm-hmm. Oof.
Why is Elaine so small?
That's a good question.
That's just rude.
That's an extreme success, though.
I feel like Iris probably has a different one of the roll options clicked.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Do I spend luck to make this success? Even
If
though
you want.
Elaine's already done.
Elaine's got an extreme, so.
I rolled 100.
Oof.
Oh my gosh. Nat,
Oh, man.
you're
I
You
dead.
know,
gotta have the real people die for this.
This
I feel like what
character of
happens
yours
here...
is cursed.
What happens here, I think, is that you all go to the library, and all of them, you try to, check out a book, but,
They hate
your library
Russians
card
here, huh?
expired,
Oh no.
and so did Evie's.
I'll spend...
Danny didn't have one, so he had to apply for one.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
Simply
You
because
guys-
I want to continue Nathan succeeding at library use. I'm gonna have him spend 5 luck so that he
Okay.
has a regular success.
Reminder, everything that you guys pass without using luck, make sure to check it off for the next development phase.
That'll be easy. Nothing.
Alright.
We're
So you
back.
guys, half of you are too preoccupied either reapplying or applying for the first time to get a library card here. There's an issue with Avram and Evie because they had special library cards because neither of them are from this country. And has Danny ever had a library card? Is that
No,
something he would have?
the research that he previously did with Avram was all on Avram's card.
Yeah. He's not used to this place being more strict on that. So no, he needs a card for the first time, so he's got to fill all that paperwork out. He's got to go home and get mail. It's a whole hassle. So that uses up all of the research time. However, luckily, Elaine and Nathan, both of them have theirs. And they are able to get some more research. Looking at some maps and stuff, you guys are able to figure out that the town where the actual disappearances happened is a small town called Leeds, which is about 5-6 miles northeast of Absecon. And it's pretty small. Small enough that it doesn't have its own police department. It uses the Absecon Police Department. And that's why there's that little bit of a discrepancy in location there with the case file.
Is that
Sorry?
Leeds as in like the English place? Leeds?
Yes, Leeds.
Evie, it's like your home.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's Whoop. It's specifically called Leeds Point. Don't mind me flexing on my New Jersey knowledge. These are real places. But you guys were able to figure that out. And that was an extreme success. That was regular success from Nathan?
Yes.
Okay. So, Nathan, you're able to... I'll say that you're the one who was able to gather that, okay, no, this is why. It's not actually this place, it's Leeds Point, which is a bit off of that. So
Right.
if you want to... Sorry, yeah?
I was just saying hi.
Oh. So if you want to go the police route and get more information on the case file or interview anyone who might have worked on the case, you would go to Obsekin. That's where the actual police department is. If you want to investigate where the disappearances took place, or if there's any other families of the disappearance, you have to go to Leeds Point, which again, it's not far. It's like 5 miles. I'll say that Elaine, this actually makes sense for her character. You are able to discover that there's a lot of shit about Leeds on like a urban history standpoint. There's a lot of talk about the forest, the pine barrens that surrounds that area. That's like 100 acres, stretching all the way to almost Philadelphia. Of that forest, especially around that area, being haunted as fuck. Talk of all sorts of ghosts and creatures that live in those woods. And none of those stories are very consistent. And the knowledge that you have here in New York isn't very, what's the word for it?
Applicable?
Yeah, applicable, very specific. It's very general knowledge. Because again, this place is all the way down in southern Jersey. And it's much more local legends, but you do know that, okay, there's definitely some shit in the woods. And you're probably not going to be a fan of it. At the very least, Nathan's not going to be a fan of it.
Well, she's definitely gonna warn Nathan about that.
Mm-hmm.
From what we know of the locations of disappearances, were those near the Pine Barrens?
Yes, I would say that Upseekin and Leeds Point are kind of just outside of that forest. And the Pine Barrens kind of stretch all the way to those points. It's kind of like there's a salt marsh in that area too, so those forests is kind of like nearest to the coast, more salt marshy before as you get further inland it becomes more foresty. The cursed haunted part is the salt marsh part.
Salt marsh haunted.
Yeah. It's a bit salt marshy. A bit swampy.
Don't be hitting all of the Jersey Devil type shit here.
There's a lot of shit in this forest.
So there's the salt marsh, and what was the other part?
As you get further inland, it becomes more foresty. But
Forest. Okay.
essentially, this is the vibe of that forest.
Nice and scenic.
Yeah, nice, scenic.
All right, Elaine, you'll have to buy some waiters as much as you hate them.
Get some boots.
But no. No. I don't need to go out here, right? Right.
Go out there, you don't find out what's going on.
What's the likelihood of there actually being interesting items there?
Would she actually be saying this to Nathan?
She's not convincing. She's not convincing herself. But yes.
Yeah, what was the odds of us finding random vampires in Boston?
Okay, you've proven your point. Hope they have something at least that looks good. I'm just imagining her looking at like black and white photos of the marshes and just being like, no, I don't want to go there. This
Turns
looks
the page.
icky.
Sees more marsh. No. Turns page.
Ugh.
No.
Why?
Why? On the flip side, I think Evie's gonna have a lot of fun.
Because I just pulled up Google and it turns out the Pine Barrens are acidic, so you get weird fish there.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You guys get your research. You come out. Evie, Avram, and Danny have finally finished the process of getting their fucking library cards.
As they come out, Evie looks to the others and she looks a bit just put off by this whole process. You would think a woman with my credentials would not need to go through such rigmarole, but you would be incorrect. Tell me, you found something interesting?
Well, we're going someplace with water. Not water deep enough for you to swim in, but water.
Water, you say?
And there she goes. She's happy now.
They are haunted marshes.
Marshes? Well, that's a bit of a shame. You don't often see very many fish in marshes, but the ones you do see are interesting. And they do make wonderful spots to hide a body as well, which gives us an excuse to go looking into them.
Elaine just makes a face like, ugh.
Evie will gentle nudge elbow. You did buy your waders, didn't you?
Okay. Side note, what are waiters?
They're the big green overall looking things made out of plastic that you wear when you're going into like knee deep water.
Ah, okay.
These things.
The stuff the guy in the Ocean Spray commercials wears.
Yeah. Elaine looks at Evie with a like of like, really? See, you really think I would buy something like that? They are not. They are so ugly.
Evie just looks at her, blinks once, very, very neutral expression. But I did say they would be necessary, though.
I didn't think you were serious.
Blink. I'm a marine biologist.
Yes, and I could have just stayed on the boat or on the shore. You do not need me there.
How are you meant to
24/7.
observe my research if you're on the boat the whole time?
Mm.
It won't be so bad, Elaine. This way, at least, your nicer outfits will at least remain undamaged.
So I seriously have to wear that.
But I mean, I can't throw you into some nasty marsh water in your fancy get-ups that you like to wear.
Could go barefoot.
Bunch of things like to nibble people when you go barefoot.
Yes, but that means you can get closer to them.
Ethan just leans over. Nice slimy squish.
Okay, I understand. I understand. Just stop by the store at some point before we go.
Would you like a set of my old waders?
Aren't they very differently sized? Like,
Yes.
Evie's pretty
Evie's
tall.
on the tall end, yeah.
Yeah, Elaine's pretty short. Elaine, like, not even trying to hide it, looks Evie up and down and just shakes her head.
Evie does not register this. She's on that, oh, okay, I guess not. And just nods. All right, then. I will go get my tackle box. Well, the unoccupied one.
You still keeping all them nasty shit in the other one? Why do we still have that? Can't we just burn it?
Yes, there's valuable research to be done, Nathan.
Still say we should just be able to burn it and be done with it.
If we burn it, then we can never learn anything else from it again. How often does one get to examine a fat-based vampire? The opportunities are vanishingly rare.
Ethan's not impressed. Look over to Rebecca as this is happening, kind of tilt his head. So, you brought all this here, and we're pretty sure that this is in fact the case, given all the little odds and ends. Gonna be coming with us and flashing a badge, or you ducking back to Boston and missing all the
She like quickly pulls out her like flip notebook, flips through a few pages. I've got some time off.
looks towards Danny and Avram, kind of raises a brow like he's asking the same question.
You did not come all this way out for nothing.
You're the one who signs my paychecks.
Yeah, but I ain't pointing you towards all the extra dangerous bits unless you're wanting to go.
Maybe it relates to what I'm looking for.
But not. Well, then, sounds like we all need to be getting our stuff together and hitting the road here within the next day or so.
Evie will nod, as she is already gathering her things. All she needed to hear was Marsh.
All right. So you guys have your preliminary research done. You have a day to prepare. Anything you guys want to pick up and get, other than waiters for the crew?
Do we have camping gear and all that? I assume so, with between Danny and Nathan. But if we don't, it'd be good to pick some up.
Yep. Gonna replenish all the supplies.
Yeah, Nathan has all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Good qualities of that too, because fucking park ranger.
Does he have
True.
stuff for like forest navigation as well, compasses, that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Right. Between Nathan and Dan, you guys are clear on all the forest preparation and getting all the gear and being able to get the quality gear, not just the flashy ones that'll, not last. I'm sorry, Elaine. It looks pretty, but it's going to break immediately.
No, Elaine's spending a good extra bit of money on some waiters that don't look like shit. Rush order, obviously.
Rushed order. Okay. You get. She probably blows like $20 for the fucking rush order, getting the waiters tailored and. I guess died?
Yep.
Yeah. So Elaine's waiters are going to be more pretty. And Elaine, you kind of hate it, but because it's tailored and you got it dyed, it's actually pretty comfortable.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Could be worse. Could be worse.
Could be worse. All right. So you all make your way down, and I would like to ask, what's the car situation?
Quick question before we move past that.
Mhm.
Elaine did read about the stories of the Pine Barrens. Is there anything in there that would suggest there are specific supplies related to those hauntings that we should have?
Yeah, that's actually a good question.
Ooh, very good question. Okay. So she did get an extreme success. So you would know that salt, pure salt, would be good for you in this instance. There are a lot of ghosts. They don't really like the religious iconography. Other than that, regular things like some, shotgun shells would probably also be good, just in case.
Can we get some rock salt shotgun shells?
Yeah, oh my fucking god. Well, they don't sell those. You'd have to make them yourself.
Could we find someone to make them?
You'd. Who?
Nathan.
Nathan?
Yeah, can Nathan make them?
I put it this way, I know how to make those. Real life, Nathan can make them.
How do you make those, Z? I'd like to know.
You make those shotgun, rock salt shotgun shells?
Yeah, how do you make them?
So you have to make sure that you're buying the actual, there's a special type of casing that doesn't have anything in it. And it is, you essentially buy a casing, and then there's the cap that's on the end of it that you fit to the back of the casing, and then you just fill up the casing itself with rock salt. So it's like a 3 or 4 step process of just making sure that everything is attached appropriately together.
If you want to make these, you will have to roll.
Okay.
Okay, what the fuck do you roll for this? cold. I'm looking at the fucking skill list. I
I will tell you, like all the shit that's on TV of like rock salt, like you fire rock salt with a shotgun and it not being dangerous is fucking lies. It will kill you.
Yeah, it's like birdshot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is dangerous.
It's still a projectile.
Oh my god. Okay.
I think the closest you get is mechanical repair.
Yeah, I think that is the closest.
What about, like, just straight intelligence?
Survival.
Yeah, I could see survival too.
You know what?
Is there a survival skill?
Is there? Can't see it.
There's nature or something, right?
Natural world.
Natural world. Fuck it. Fast talk while he explains the process again. I will take natural world because it really does make sense for Nathan to know. Let's see how many of these you can craft.
Well, that's almost a critical success. That was 2.
Are you going to spend luck on it?
Like I'll spend 1 singular luck.
Okie doke. Well, I think with Danny's help, you were able to make a lot more than you normally can on short notice.
Come here, Danny. You're learning a new skill.
You're learning a new skill today. You think what? 12 of these is fair?
Yeah.
Yep. For critical success? Yep. Get 12 rock salt shotgun shells. And this is the one thing I will have you keep track of.
Yep. I'm listing it right now. 12 rock salt shotgun shells.
I just
fucking
looked up a picture.
Oh, picture?
This is with even a basic shotgun. They just pulled out all the lead inside and filled it with ice cream rock salt. Not loading for some.
Rip. Oh, you gotta open it up. Yeah.
You just have to make sure that the gold little cap at the bottom is there. And you have the complete casing on the outside.
Yep. Alright, well, this is really... Man. I always love the first couple seasons of Supernatural. This is great. Great idea. You guys have 12 rock salt shotgun shells now. Distribute that however you want, or just have it be nebulous. I don't really mind either way.
I mean, Elaine wanted them.
Yeah. But you guys are able to procure all of these just in time for the drive down to southern Jersey. Now, I have one question. Where are you guys going?
Police department first?
Yeah.
Don't trust the cops.
Well, it'd probably be a good idea to have Rebecca talk to them and, just see if anybody that worked the cases is still around, number one, that may remember something that wasn't written down, and then number two also so that Rebecca can be like, hey, I'm looking at this shit, so if anybody's talking about some people being weird around town, don't send anybody to arrest us.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just if they have more leads on who we could talk to as well.
All right.
Can I roll law for that?
Yeah. So we can go ahead and bring you guys all the way down. It's not that long of a drive. It's 2 hours. Add on an extra hour because cars were slower. So it's not that long of a drive, but you guys do get all the way over to smaller town, smaller city, more like. Welcome to Absecon, New Jersey. It's already a bit more marshy and more humid than you guys are used to. Because New York is on the water, but something about the environment just makes this one a bit more wet. There's a bit more mud in the ground, but it's more than walkable, especially on the main roads and in the city itself. The air is very humid this time of year. But not unpleasantly so. It's just enough that the baby hairs framing your face stick a little more than you'd like it to. Nothing that a glass of water and some deep breaths won't fix, though. So you guys are going to the police station in town, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You guys make your way over. Again, this town's pretty quiet. There's not all that much going on. You do see people that kind of look at the car, drive past, like, oh, I don't recognize that one, but they don't pay much mind to it. The police department itself is equally very not busy. There's not much going on. You see there's a woman seated at the desk, and she seems to be reading a book as you all enter. Looks up with a smile.
Rebecca.
You're on deck.
She'll show her badge or shield, introduce herself. Hi, I'm Detective Rebecca Redfield from Boston PD. I'm here with some colleagues, and we're looking into some cold cases, and I was wondering if the detective or detectives that worked on these cases was here still?
She looks up at you, and she looks at the badge, kind of like propping herself up on her elbows a little bit. And there's like a blink as she looks at it. Boston PD. She looks up at you. She's like, so you're looking for who?
Do the files indicate a lead detective or?
There is one. Well, there are two specific. There's a lead detective by the name of Hayden Hunt, and then his deputy listed as a Benjamin Woods.
Hayden Hunt wouldn't happen to be around, would he?
Well, yeah, but he's dead, so.
Oh, well, then he's not around, is he?
I mean, he's buried out back in the cemetery down the street.
I don't feel as though that's helpful. Um, you said Benjamin what?
Woods.
How about Benjamin Woods?
He's around. He went to go get some coffee for us, so I mean, you can wait here if you want to.
She kind of like looks over her shoulder at everyone else before turning back to this woman and just nodding that they'll wait.
Okay, you can wait over there.
Nathan already finding himself a seat.
Evie nods, and are we in town proper?
Yep.
Is there water nearby?
Not in eye view. The most you can
Alright.
get in town is a sewer drain that won't drain properly, so it's become a little mini ecosystem out front.
You know what? Evie's gonna look at it.
Can you roll me... What's your fucking science?
A lot.
Like biology?
Yeah.
Roll me biology.
Okay. Let's see how much Evie amuses herself. She doesn't. 82! Jesus!
Evie, you don't understand it. There's nothing here. How is there nothing here? There's always something here.
It's New Jersey, baby!
This puddle is lifeless. Not even mosquitoes are laying eggs in it.
She's just gonna pass the time, confused, staring at this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Alright. It's clear that the lady at the front desk did not want you guys to stay. But she goes back to her book. Just very much like, okay, I'm just gonna ignore you guys then. That's not my problem. I was reading. But thankfully, it's at most 5 to 10 minutes before a... how'd you know I was headcanoning it was a romance novel?
Of course it's a romance novel. Of course it's a romance novel.
Oh, man. It was about 5-10 minutes later when someone else walks through the door carrying 2 copies in hand with a paper bag looped over his wrist. You guys can smell the scent of fresh baked goodies as he walks in. And this is what he looks like. Oop. Yeah. If I can just copy and paste it, that would be nice. I don't know why technology is fighting me today. He walks in, detective badge, able to spot as he shuffles through the door. Careful not to spill any of the beloved coffee. It is sacred. He walks in, polite nod to you guys. As he walks past, drops 1 coffee onto the desk. And starts chatting with the lady.
Rebecca will get up and ask if it's the man she's waiting for.
He turns, having just grabbed a donut from the bag. Looks like he was about to take a bite out of it. But he puts it down once he sees you. And does Rebecca have like a professional demeanor about her? Like, what's the vibe?
I mean, professional in the sense that she's like wearing like what she would normally wear to work and like has her badge on her, but like cavalier in a sense of like I'm not at work.
Okay. Gotcha. So he'll turn with a friendly smile and wave. He goes, you looking for me?
If you are Deputy Benjamin Woods,
He'll put the donut down, wipe his hand on his pants, and with his other hand, he thinks better of it, hold out a hand to shake. It's Detective Woods now, and you can just call me Benny if you want.
she will shake his hand. Oh, forgive me, Benny. I was just I pulled that straight from these case files, and she'll show him the files that she brought with them.
His eyebrow quirks. Case files. I'll take a look. And he notes the date, and it takes like 30 seconds of reading before he's like, recognition sparks in his face. Like, we can go to my office to talk about this. And you just hear that same woman before. It's like, yeah, I don't really want you here at my desk while I'm trying to enjoy my coffee. So you could just little shooing motion from her.
Is she even an employee, or is she just like a volunteer?
I was gonna say, God forbid she do her job. No, Elaine's actually gonna say that to Evie in French.
Evie, who is squatting outside, looking at the sewers, and I imagine Elaine, who is bored out of her mind in the thresholdish area. Evie just looks up. Well, I am trying to do my job, and it does seem that it's. What the devil do you suppose is going on here? Perhaps there's a similar amount of nothingness going on within the confines of that police station? She says all this in French. There's nothing in here, Elaine.
Elaine looks at the puddle, like glances at the puddle. I imagine she was doing her nails, filing them kind of thing. Like, I don't know what the fuck to do here. It's hot, humid. I hate it. What the fuck? I hope to God my hair's not frizzing out. Anyways, it's like, yeah, there doesn't really seem to be much there, huh? Still, she could be doing paperwork or something, or at least lose the attitude.
Rebecca, you can see that she does work here. She is a receptionist. Her name is Betty.
Of course it is. Oh, Black Betty, bam bam. Oh, Black Betty, bam bam.
But she's very much like,
Bertha.
shoo. What were you saying?
I just said I was close with Bertha.
You are very close. But no, she just little shoe gesture. Her nails are a little long. You don't know how she does anything with them.
Wow, they're even tacky.
Eris is feeling catty tonight.
He really is. Evie's just like, this whole time, Evie is just poking at this pedal, and like puddle. And when Elaine says that, she looks up and she squints. Tacky? No, it's actually the texture isn't what you would expect. It's not nearly as sticky as you would think.
Doctor, I think we need to head in.
Do I? Do I have to be presentable?
Elaine glances at the receptionist and at the detective. Probably.
Evie will stand up and, still kind of looking down at the puddle in just confusement, you know? She's bewildered by this thing. Cleans herself off. I imagine she's got some stuff for that in her tackle box. Gives herself a quick once over. Enters into police station proper.
Mm-hmm.
And above table, is this the sort of situation where it would be helpful to have Evie attempt charm, or are we good on that account, and is it more of a just moral support situation?
I think it's dependent on how well Rebecca gets on with this detective.
Yeah, let's see.
Mm-hmm. Who looked at Rebecca and just sighs at Betty and glances at all the other people kind of scattered in the waiting area and outside the door. Just turns to Rebecca. Are they all with you?
Yeah, these are my associates.
I think the meeting room would be better, actually. Well, if you can all follow me, we can get away from the front desk.
Thank you. She'll wave everyone on.
Yeah, Evie will follow along.
Everyone is ushered away from the front desk, known as Betty's domain. No one hangs out around there.
Why do I feel like she actually has like a sign or a placard
That says that, yeah.
She would. It's mostly talked about. You don't really enter it unless you have to. And you don't stay there for more than you need to. Because the more and more people that there are in Betty's domain for very long, the worse it gets. But he'll quickly usher all of you into a pretty standard room, big table, a couple smaller tables, a bunch of chairs. And he's gonna plop his bag of goodies on the table with his coffee. He's gonna take a seat. Gesture for you all to do the same as he takes a sip. So, what exactly are you guys doing digging up an old file of mine?
Well, you see, there was a similar case, and I was doing some background research, and I came across these files due to the similarities.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, the sheriff at the time passed away about 2 years ago. But I was his deputy at the time, so I did work the case with him. Did you have questions on it to help with your case?
Kind of like looks around. Mostly just, was there anything that you can remember that didn't get put in the file?
Anything that you thought of was maybe just a detail that was too small to add or just didn't seem to fit that you didn't feel like adding?
Well, we tried to put everything in there that we found. It was pretty difficult at the time. You see, Hayden kind of took on a lot of the case himself. He didn't really want me too close to it.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, he was a good detective, good sheriff. The issue there is that two of us were the only trained officers at the time. And, well, you never go anywhere on your own. The only issue is that, well, I'm from Leeds. So a lot of people there I knew personally. It's a pretty hard case to work. But I put as much info as we could find. They were all taken at different days, different places around town. We're not even sure if they're even connected. The only things they had in common was the similar time of day they disappeared.
You
And
said then once. Oh, sorry.
no, after you.
I was just saying, what time was that?
Sundown. Either during sundown or after during the night.
And if you were to review the case now with your more mature understanding of things, where would you begin? Is there anything that you would re-examine?
He takes a sip of his coffee. He reaches in, grabs that same donut. It's a jelly donut. He kind of muses at it, kind of holding it up, inspecting it, lost in thought. If I could visit it again, I'd probably question the families more. Because there has to be a connection. We just couldn't find it.
Found any hide nor hair any of these people after they disappeared?
He shakes his head. None. It was just before winter, so not even in the spring were there any signs of their bodies being found. It was like they just vanished.
Calling you ranger or woodsman or lumberjacks that spend the time out that direction?
I mean, a few, but they don't really come to town often. And people don't like to go in the woods very much around here.
Know of any lumberjack encampment out there right now?
Nothing that's still in use. There might be some old buildings that were abandoned in ruins from way back. But that's back when Leeds was first founded, way back.
You had any trouble with other people maybe not going missing from town, but getting little turned around out in the woods?
Nothing that wasn't resolved the next day or two. Every now and then we'll have some people go into the woods looking for all the monsters that are out there. But usually they just get spooked by a coyote or something and come running back.
Was there any animal attacks at the time?
Not really. In fact, around that time of year, there aren't any, which is interesting, but I just think it's just luck. Just trade out animal attacks for missing people, unfortunately.
Can I have Evie roll like zoology or something here?
Yeah, sure.
Can I hit this man with a source?
Source? Alright.
Zoology?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jesus, Evie. What is wrong with you today? I will spend 4. I want to succeed at something. God damn it!
Sure you don't want to be reaching for the real dice? Because 20's not liking you right now.
It is not. It is not. If I am permitted to roll that with my real dice, I will. But otherwise, I will spend 4 luck. I'm spending 4 luck, it seems.
Yeah, Amy?
Yeah?
Did you hear the ask that was done?
What was the ask?
Yeah, I figured she missed it. I heard the typing. She wasn't paying attention.
Can I use my can I roll physical dice or
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, alright, thank you. Based where the fuck is my dice bag? That's the other thing. There it is. Alright. I'm gonna need to get like fish themed dice for Evie.
That is actually surprisingly.
Alright, let's see. And there we go. Alright. Alright, that's an 18. That's better. 18. Alright, yeah, I'll take a hard success.
Mm.
Hard success on zoology.
Okay. So, Evie, zoology, I imagine she took a book from the library as soon as she got her library card, but unfortunately it was after research time. They had to hit the road. So she got a book on the area, and I mean, there were so many facts about the acidity of the marsh and that it could contain life, what the acidity does, and all that. However, you did do your obligatory, must read about mammals to be helpful in this situation. And that the Pine Barrens specifically in this area does have predators. However, those populations are decreasing rapidly due to a lot of hunting and trapping. So it's very rare to see them. Animal attacks are very rare.
And when this guy says that there's no attacks at that time of the year, is that unusual?
That time of year in fall, if there were a higher population of bears, it would be a little unusual.
But it's not unusual.
Not
is what?
because of the population size decrease over the past few years.
Okay.
So a little unusual because there are bears, they are more aggressive that time of year. But because of the decrease in population, not unheard of.
Okay.
And for above table knowledge here, funnily enough, this time of, in this time, current year, 2024, there are no more predators in those woods. They're just fucking gone.
Rip.
Rip all the bears, cougars, and wolves. Bears are sometimes seen occasionally.
He would have loved eating men in the Pine Barrens.
Right? Because this is 100 years ago, I'm saying that they're still there, they're just dwindling.
You say that. I don't fucking trust that ever.
Yeah, I don't trust that either.
Yeah. It's still seen occasionally, so always be careful. Don't be dumb. Kira, never go into a forest. Ever.
I went camping once and a raccoon scared the shit out of me, okay?
Yeah. But yeah, it's just fun little fact I'm incorporating in the current wildlife because I like animals.
As you were. I just wanted to know if that was weird.
Yeah. It's less of a danger. Still a threat, though. And I'm going to roll something. Okay. You see, as he asks these questions and he eats his donut, there is a gesture of like, if you guys want snackies, you can have some. As he sits and answers your questions, and he says, "It's just unfortunate luck, I guess, that things like this happen from time to time."
Time makes it sound like this ain't the only batch of weird things you dealt with.
I mean, me personally, only one I've dealt with, firsthand at least. But I remember when I was a kid, there was some other people that went missing. But if I remember, they also weren't found. I was like 8 or 9 at the time, so I wasn't really told much about it.
You remember any of their names?
Do you have suggestions for that?
I mean, I think I went to school with one of them. I think her name was Gracie, but so long ago. I could probably pull the case files on that. You guys want to give me a hand with that? Because there's a lot. Betty is supposed to be organizing these things, but
Nathan will kind of smile and reach over and just a very large hand giving Elaine a really firm thump on the back. Yeah, well, we got a research assistant all right here anyway. A favorite thing to do.
looks at Elaine.
I can make quick ghosts. She'll look over to Evie and say, in French, "Told ya."
Evie will smile. Yes, Miss Bouchard does come very highly recommended. You'll find her to be a quick hand at this sort of thing. Perhaps you may want to have your receptionist attend as well. It's always good to take advantage of learning opportunities. I was just saying to Elaine that you really have to seize them when they come to you. For instance, that puddle that's outside. Do you know there's nothing in it?
Last time I checked, there's water.
Evie blinks, has a moment of, right.
Nathan
Settle down.
snorts.
Settle down. And then just adjust glasses. Right. Water.
Yeah, we've tried to train Betty. We're better off not bothering her. So I will take all the help I can get trying to find this case.
It would be my pleasure.
All right, let me show you the way. And guess what time it is to roll again?
Library use! Library use!
If anyone else would like to join, you are more than welcome to. This place is so fucking disorganized.
Let's try. I'll have Evie help out.
If y'all want, you can go out into the marshes, and Elaine could do stuff back home. Back here at the base.
You that that's whatever the middle one is, hard success.
So, would you let me roll law in the sense that...
I would let you roll law.
Okay, cool. I don't even have to argue.
Alright, let's see.
As long as it is cop adjacent / cop location.
I rolled an 84, so it's not happening for me either.
I rolled a 5. That's extreme.
Hey.
Regular, hard, and an extreme success.
Regular, hard, and extreme. Let's go. Alright. So, things that you guys find. First of all, this place is so disorganized. You can see that Benny himself has started setting up a place to start organizing these things. Looks like the previous sheriff didn't really care for organization much. So Benny himself, now that he is now the person that everyone turns to and is in charge, he's revamping it himself. Unfortunately, he is very busy. So it's slow goings because Betty is no help. But eventually you guys are able to decipher some of these. Working together, you're able to section things out by every couple of years. Everything from 1919 to 1916 in this pile. Everything from 1916 to 1912 in this pile. And eventually you guys are able to work your way down to around 20 years ago. About 1902, 1903. You're able to find the case file of the missing people that he was talking about when he was a kid. Head detective on it, of course. You know and you love him, Mr. Hayden Hunt. And as you guys find and look at this, you see that it's very similar in the lack of information on leads. Something that's also similar that makes Benny's eyes kind of widen is the time of day that they disappeared is also the same. It's after sundown.
Are the dates lining up as well?
All of these also took place in November of that year. There are only 2 people this time, though. One was a young boy, and one was a young girl. That was the Gracie that he mentioned going to school with. And the other was an older gentleman. Disappeared at different times. Or sorry, not different days, but around the same time.
And is it 20 years exactly, or just around kind of thing?
Around. If you want specific dates.
Well, it's more I was just gonna see if there's more further back around that time, actually. Just in case.
Every 20-year thing, or if it's...
Yeah.
If
we're dealing with it or not.
Yeah. So going back, actually, what you're able to decipher is that it's actually an every 7-year thing. Because you guys got an extreme, a hard, and a regular. And You guys, I don't remember who rolled what, so I'm just gonna hand it out.
Elaine got the regular. Nathan got the hard, and
Avram got the
No,
extreme.
I thought I got a hard as well.
Well, Avram got the extreme for sure.
Yeah, Elaine's got a hard.
Oh, okay, so it's 2 hearts and an extreme.
2 hard successes and an extreme. Okay.
I just
so
saw
working
2
together.
30s.
Yeah. So working together, you guys are able to piece together that the dates that he remembered weren't very accurate because, again, for him, he was a kid. He doesn't really remember the exact time. All he kind of remembers is people were upset. One of his classmates wasn't there anymore. And that's about it. No one really talked about it after that. But what you guys are able to find going back a very, very, very long time is that every 7 years in November, there is at least 1 to 4 people that disappear in Leeds. No leads, no connection between the victims that was able to be found. Only thing that they have in common is that they disappeared in November at around sundown or just after sundown. And as he's looking at this, he's just incredulous as you guys are piecing all of this together.
Well, with all due respect, Detective, it looks like we might be dealing with something a little bit more interesting than somebody just disappearing.
I don't quite understand what's happening here.
We're gonna be around investigating for a little while. So if you get any reports, know that that's us.
You guys gonna be looking into this?
Oh, yes. Of course we are.
I mean, you want somebody to go disappearing in what, another like 2 years?
Actually, it would be, wouldn't it?
He looks at it and he shakes his head. No, but it's every 7 years. Wouldn't that be this year?
Look, I was just estimating because I don't fucking remember what the dates are.
What month are we in?
That's a good question.
You know the answer. You know the answer.
No!
November.
That's a very good question. It's not November, don't worry. But it is August.
October?
No. No, it's not. It's August. It's too hot and humid.
Are there any connections over the people from the 7 years? Family relations? Anything? Because it's a small town. I have to imagine there's some sort of connection, like they work together or they're second cousins or some shit.
There probably is a lot of that. Because it's a very, very small town.
Nothing that jumps out to us or is important, apparently.
Nothing of importance. It's like these 2 people worked at the local grocery store. But again, these are across every 7 years, different generations, different ages.
Can we get like a map and like mark it with like where each person disappeared from?
That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
You guys can do that.
It makes a
Yeah.
symbol.
Makes a pentagram. We're leaving.
Man, if you guys will permit me, I would like to make this more interesting by actually having it be October, if that is okay.
Yeah.
Make it
Retcon.
November.
Yeah, it's like mid-October, mid to late October.
Now, did anybody feel it getting chillier all of a sudden?
But you guys can get a little map of the place, and I'm just gonna bring you over to the Leeds map. Boop. This is the kind of small town we're talking here.
Oh
Oh,
shit!
this is. We're talking small. There's like 5
That's
people
where
living
I'm
here.
from.
Yeah, it's a small town. This town isn't even a town proper. It has a post office, but does not have a sheriff department. That's
2
why
major
they.
streets.
What'd you say?
Just saying 2 major streets. That's it.
Yep. So I'm going to draw on the map all of the hot spots. Here. 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 Essentially,
A square.
here. Essentially, the outskirts of the town.
Good. You added one more. Oh, no. We keep adding more.
I mean, it's a long, long time. And Avram, you got a. What was that? Your success on the libraries again.
Extreme.
An extreme. I have one question for you.
Only one.
Would you like to use luck to make that a critical?
Sure would.
Cool. And oh, here too. It's kind of just surrounding the town. People kind of. And these are essentially where people were last seen. General areas. As you guys mark this down. Avram, we can say that you are still looking at the files and stuff. And going back all this time. And you go back every 7 years, you find something. Every 7 years, you find something. There's disappearance, there's something. 1 to 4 people. And then you keep going all the way back to the year 1735. And that is the first instance of someone disappearing. Because after that, there's no one disappearing that fits this same pattern. There's someone that was found dead in spring from a work accident, but nothing. This is the first one that's in November. And you see that it was a baby. It was a newborn that disappeared the day of its birth. And you can actually see that the baby that disappeared, it's kind of hard to read because, again, it's really old. This is back when the town was first founded, actually. Because you can see that the name of the family that lost their child is the Leeds family. Same name as the town. You see that it was a Mrs. Deborah Leeds that filed the report. but there isn't much detail on it, other than it was never found.
What was the year, Amy?
1735.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But second? No, okay.
Timing. I'm kind of having a smoke as he looks over this and is trying to put together in his head what would have happened 7 years before the first disappearance.
The town getting founded, really.
In like the exact year?
No, not exactly.
Okay.
The only thing you can really find here is just the report of the disappearance.
Hmm. Spend a bit of time looking it over before bringing it to the attention of the others. It seems this is the first time that the disappearance like the ones we're looking at was reported.
Is there any other like things that are happening in the town that same year?
There was some controversy around that family.
Controversy, you say?
Mm-hmm. A lot of it was, I guess, kind of like social issues. Looks like that family used to be,
So shocking that Amy lost her.
I actually think she DC'd. The music stopped.
Just further proof that it's insanely shocking.
It's not even November and she disappeared.
Did the music stop? I felt like I was still hearing like a didgeridoo.
Hello?
Yeah, no, it's still
There
playing.
we go.
Hi! I was like
Why?
talking and shit, and I could still hear you guys, and I was like, Amy has lost her words, and I was like, what do you mean? I'm currently speaking.
Oh, you
That's just rude.
I can't hear the music for some reason. Oh, there we go. It changed. Never mind.
I think she DC'd for like a half second.
Yeah. So what was the last thing you guys heard?
It was so shocking and then silence.
Yeah. Contra social stuff.
Ah, yes. Okay. So essentially it's all about previously this family doing some research on it. You would find that this family had beef with like people who were not loyal to the British during this time period.
Ah, loyalists. Okay, fun.
Yeah. In fact, Daniel Leeds had beef with Benjamin Franklin over their almanacs.
Oh my god. The fucking Farmer's Almanac.
Yeah.
But Benjamin Franklin's was a joke. Who are you fighting with?
It was just a lot of beef because that stemmed from this family being more loyal to the British than the others.
Well, they've got good heads on their shoulders.
You just get a stare down across the table.
I didn't hear what you said, but I can just imagine.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet. I think it was they have good heads on their shoulders.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah.
I'll move my mic a little closer. Sorry about that.
No problem, Bob.
Yeah. It's very funny reading up on this for this arc. But yeah, it's around that time because this family settled here, and that's why it's called Leeds and Leeds Point. But that's pretty much all you can find here at this place, in this station. Just stuff on the actual police reports and disappearances themselves.
One final question. How did Hunt die?
Mm.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Cody's just
See,
like, I've seen too many horror movies. I know which questions to ask.
And you can just say irrelevant, and I'll live with that.
he had a heart attack.
Interesting. She like strokes her chin.
He looks at Rebecca. He doesn't know what to make of all of this. He's like, what? How? How does this go back so long ago? How does this keep happening? He didn't even realize the connection. And Avram, do you share what you find?
Sorry, was that a question?
E, do you share?
Yeah, he shared it earlier.
Okay.
Figure he's not going to hold that back.
And Benny looks at it and he just kind of double takes. He just kind of squints. He's like, okay, well, I gotta ask, is this a joke or something that you guys are doing? Did someone put you up to this?
Put us up to what? Doing your job for you?
No, putting all of this here holds up the thing that Avram found. Putting this here.
This is from your records.
You
Rebecca bursts out laughing, and she's like, "Sorry, we don't mean to be joking." She'll point to Evie and be like, "She actually has a theory that." Wait, real quick, is there like a river or a lake nearby?
There's all the marshes and whatnot, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. That there's toxic fish that are killing people and disposing of their bodies.
Well, yes, that's not a theory. I've seen them.
Audible face film.
Well, that still doesn't really explain this. He holds up the report that Avram found, the original report. Have I met one of you guys before? Did I do something to any of you? I don't think
I'm
we've
gonna
met.
say this with all due respect, sir. Ain't none of us know you, and place is too far out in the middle of nowhere for most anybody to really care to try and pull a prank on you.
Oh.
He looks at you. He looks at everyone. And he kind of runs a hand through his hair, kind of putting his glasses a little askew on his nose. Very clearly stressed.
Do you honestly think any of us look like we belong here? We would be here for no reason?
All I know is that you, points at Avram, found that, and Leeds is my mother's maiden name.
You're related all the way back to this.
Yeah, so, forgive me for thinking that you guys are pulling a prank on me.
Nathan kind of tilts his head a little bit. In his eyes, he could see him thinking. So your mother's maiden name, right?
He nods.
And he'll look over to Elaine and Evie. It sounds like probably need to be looking at the town records if there are any, and seeing if any of these others have Deed's family in the background.
That does sound like a good instinct, Nathan. With how small this town is, I suppose there's a great deal of leads interwoven amongst you.
Probably. They're. Look, my family's pretty interesting.
Evie raises a brow.
Elaine
In
leans
what?
in a bit.
In what way? Pray tell.
Well, no one ever really had that many kids for a long time. My apparently way back, I don't really remember. Grandparents of mine had 12, 13 kids, and I don't know, after that, no one ever really had more than one, other than, well, my mom. Look, if you guys are going to be looking into this,
Brow raise, lean forward. If?
turns and grabs his jacket. I'd like to come with you guys.
Nathan looks tired.
Do you promise not to cause Nathan any more trouble? Because he's already worn to the point of exhaustion dealing with me.
Considering I'm going to be appointed sheriff in the next few months, I don't really intend on causing trouble.
Causing trouble for Nathan.
There's a difference.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Then I won't cause trouble for Nathan.
Evie looks to Nathan with a, is he cool?
I think Nathan's actually watching Rebecca.
I mean, I don't know that she's necessarily giving a ton of visual tells, but she does not like this idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't like it either. You're not alone. Nathan just kind of like leans forward, like elbows crossing, like arms crossing on the table. Like, I have a hunch that even if say no, you're gonna go poking your nose into all this anyway. Now that we brought this to your attention.
Well, it's kind of my job.
Go hunting all the cold cases that lead back, what, 100, 200 years?
Well, if it's gonna happen again, I want to do everything I can to prevent it. And who knows what's causing it? But I can't ignore the pattern. If you want to work separately, that's fine.
It may be better to have him with us. Especially if he may be one of the ones to disappear next.
We ain't got any kind of pointer that's how any of this works.
It is just a suggestion.
Might be better to have him around if he's going to be doing his own investigation and perhaps moving things, finding things that what we do. Probably gonna be having to step away from your work for a couple days though if you want to be in on this. I have a feeling we're gonna be going out in them woods.
And hey,
In the
you might remember
marsh?
something.
What'd you say, Cody?
I said, hey, and you might remember something.
I can step away for a bit. Probably will have to travel back home after a day or two. Just make sure everything's running smoothly. But Leeds does fall under my jurisdiction.
Kind of sighs and gestures vaguely for a moment. Yeah, suppose it's better to have you on the team than off the team for right now, but we are the ones that have some experience investigating these kind of strange, off the wall cold cases. So, follow our lead here.
He takes a second, and then he nods. Okay, I can do that. I can follow your lead and not cause you trouble.
Are the marshes on the way?
Technically,
Nathan, can we stop at the marshes?
Instantly, head in hands.
Nathan, can we not stop by the marshes?
Oh, you are not putting me in the middle of the two of you. Y'all sort out whether or not you want to go first. And then you ask me, can we?
Well, we want to go, obviously. Who here would like to see some delightfully unique wildlife? Raise your hand. Raise.
does anyone else raise their hands? Because Benny doesn't.
Danny raises his hand. Okay, okay. Is that all we get? Evie surveys the results of the survey. Lowers her hand. Right. Understood. I will find time to go to the marshes on my own.
We'll see about swinging by them once we're done. It's something of a time crunch that might be coming up.
There's a nod. All right, that does make sense. All right, on the way back, we'll stop by the marshes.
Detective Benjamin Woods turns to Rebecca, Avram, and Danny. Are they always like this?
As far as I can tell, yes.
And they ask if I'm gonna cause trouble? Okay, sure.
See, it should make sense. Because now you see why Nathan doesn't need any more trouble.
Evie is self-aware enough to know that she makes a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, packing up all the fucking case files. This is how it just become one mega case of the fucking century.
Several centuries.
Several centuries. New box, unlocked. Labeled Leeds Disappearances.
Leads.
Leeds. Okay. So, it is 10:30.
Doesn't even feel like it. Damn.
You're right, it is.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like a good spot to hang things
Yeah.
up for now. Because next
This
time
is
we
a
can
good
start
spot.
with the on-site whatnots.
Going to Leeds. Leeds
Mhm.
Point.
Did we? So just making sure for my notes here, we haven't confirmed that all of them have ties to the Leeds family yet, right?
No.
Have not, no.
We
Okay,
suspect
just
it,
make
but we
sure.
don't have ties.
We'd have to get birth records and stuff, which I assume we'd have to get from Leeds?
The
Like the
town.
town registrar or whatever.
Yeah. So, essentially, we can leave off with everyone packing up all their shit, saying bye to Betty. And
Bye, Betty.
Bye,
yeah,
Betty.
bye Betty. It was awful knowing you.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Family.
You guys have picked up one helpful sheriff in the making. Detective Woods. On your way to Leeds. Yay.